Welcome back to Owning the Huddle podcast. In today's episode, we talk about our spotlight players for last week. What progress have they made on the field? We also look at the running backs for the addition of the 53-man roster. Who's going to make it? And we take an inside look in our thoughts on the O-line. Are these draft picks really going to make it, or are they really progressing? What's the situation with Ron and these draft picks right now on the O-line? Buckle up. It's Owning the Huddle podcast.
Welcome to Owning the Huddle podcast presented by Red Zone in the Lab, where we discuss all things Washington Commanders, from the executive and front offices, coaches, players, and fan experience. Join DT, Breeze, CeeLo, and Deuce as they break down the pre- and post games. Do it because you love it and not because it loves you. Hail Commanders!
Welcome back to OTA Podcast.
Welcome to DC. You know we're down at the USA Cup. You're taking it slightly, I'm taking it slightly. Now you throw at them, you won't be right back. Well, we gon' be right here, we gon' be right here. We ain't going nowhere. Welcome to DC.
Hey, this is Hog Farmer Keith of the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation. And before you listen to Owning the Huddle podcast presented by Red Zone in the Lab, the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation has put together an awesome program where you can help make a difference in helping us raise money to assist families who are faced with the everyday stresses it takes for their child to battle cancer. How do you do this? Well, we challenge you to become a 2023 Hog Farmer Ambassador. You can check out this information on our website at hogfarmerscharity.org, or you can learn more by heading to our Facebook and or Twitter feeds. The way that you do this is you click the ambassador link, you start your campaign, you set a goal, you reach your audience, and you help raise $250 or more. So who's with us on helping put a smile on the family's face while they go through these tough times?
What up? Welcome to On the Huddle podcast. Again, I'm Deuce. We got CeeLo, we got DT, we got Breeze in the building. What's going on? I don't know. I know it looks like CeeLo is at a hotel, but he disappeared. I don't know exactly where he is. But Breeze, what's good, man?
What's good?
Ah, there you go.
What's good? Is he back? Is he still
He
frozen?
trying to slide around the camera. What's up, Breeze, man? What's good, man?
Ain't nothing, man. What's good with y'all, fellas?
Chilling, man. How was training camp last week?
It was dope. It was dope. I got to go out there and not see 10,000 people. Still a good turnout. You know, what I mean, got to see and evaluate some stuff. You know, my training camp tweets always lit, so you know we had a good time. For sure.
DT, what's good, man? What's up with that hat?
Not much, man, but yeah, it's marching band season. Proud to sell head the marching band. Band can't start for the kids. They gotta get ready for the heat tomorrow because we gonna be marching.
At band camp? You know, at band camp? There's one time at band camp?
Dr. Lee.
CeeLo, what's good, man? Where you at, man?
What's good, man? I'm in New York, man.
You out there for that PS5?
Negative. Negative.
Was a spy, man.
Hey, I was at camp last week. I was same thing. I was in New York. I flew right into the Dulles, and I went straight to camp. And it was a good, same as Bree said, man. It was a good turnout, but it wasn't like crazy. So you got a nice opportunity to kind of see everything that you wanted to see, So yeah.
Yeah, cool, man. I'm planning to go tomorrow and Wednesday. I ain't gonna try to get no autographs. I think tomorrow was Military Day, and then Wednesday is
dope.
For the
Where
kids.
Where were you at? Where were you at this week or last week, dude?
Yeah, I ain't go last week. Yeah, I went to the Ark Encounter. It's in Kentucky. So I was in
The what?
Oh, man.
your parts. Ark can count. Noah's Ark, the replica of it.
Nice.
So yeah, we went there Thursday. So we was there for the weekend church family camp. So that was cool. Yeah, so I'll be there tomorrow. I think I might go. The last day I might go is probably like the 18th. But I heard a lot of people gonna be there on the 13th, but that's a Sunday, I think, right? So y'all know I can't get that jump. Let me see.
Sunday.
Yeah, that's the 13th. I ain't gonna make that jump. But all right, man. Look, DT. Let's get into, for those of you that don't know, our 3 spotlight players. We're not gonna tell you. We're gonna actually go watch last week's episode. So if you're watching this and then watch last week, go ahead, hit pause, go back, watch last week's, and we're gonna come back. So Cole Turner, DT, what are you looking forward to seeing from Cole Turner on Friday?
Well, with recency news about Logan Thomas and his little calf strain, I think this is a good opportunity to Cole to actually get some first team reps in the offense. We all know, we heard about him last year during this time, how he was getting mad raised from media and teammates of how he looks. And sure, you could say you see him out here, he looks better at route running. We need someone to be a little bit of that inside threat in the middle of the field for a quarterback like Sam, to attack these linebackers, things like that. I'm looking forward to see what he can do fully healthy, nothing holding him back, and playing this type of offense. We all seen, obviously what Travis Kelsey was able to do in Kansas City for all these years and currently doing now. Hall of Fame talent right there. But Cole Turner, he has some skill sets that can translate very well for what EB wants to do in this offense. I can't wait to see Friday.
Yeah, man, I really believe, and my hope is that at least by week 13, that Cole Turner is your starter, regardless of injuries. I think that's good team building. I also believe that Logan is getting older. He's getting nicked up. Like, I think he missed his 3rd straight practice, not including days that they didn't have practice. So I think it is something to be a little concerned about. But hopefully Cole Turner can kind of live up to, being the next guy. And I think they drafted him, fifth round last year, I think. So, hopefully he can end up being that guy. CeeLo, so your guy that you want to go on is Jared Patterson. Oh, wait a minute. Let's go back 1 second. One of his players, all this time, I didn't even realize that my TV was on. Can y'all hear my TV in the background?
Yeah,
a little bit.
I thought that was DT's TV. You know, I see.
It's usually his DT TV. I didn't even realize, but all right, anyhow. So one of your players is on IR. Troy Apke. So
Nasty.
Get well soon, Troy. Get well soon, Troy.
Oh man, but Jared Patterson, man, what do you expect from him? I think he'll get like 20 carries probably this Friday.
And Trap. Hey. Yeah, so
hold on, he can't have a nickname Trap, like we not doing that.
Trap is that's a legit nickname for somebody in that caliber.
Somebody,
a legit nickname
for somebody, yeah.
That's a fantastic name. Anyway, yeah, man. I feel. My prediction is, so my thing about Jared, the reason I even highlighted him as a spotlight player is I just feel like when I look at Kansas City, and I keep saying Kansas City because I feel like that's going to be the closest, we can reference in terms of the offense that we may see. It's going to be some differences, obviously, because of the personnel groupings. But if you go back and look at last year's 2022 rankings for, or stats for Kansas City running backs, you had Pacheco, he had 170 carries, 830 yards. You had McKinnon, 72 carries, 291 yards. So you had 3 running backs that led their team, and obviously, rushing and receiving and attempts. And so I feel like a guy like Jared Patterson may actually fit within what EB is trying to do. Now I know he got C-Rod, and so I'm curious to see what he's going to bring to the table And my struggle was looking at, what are those two guys gonna bring to the table? And so I'm curious to see what they both look like on on in their first preseason game. I just feel like Jared may have a little bit of a leg up, and for some reason, you may see C-Rod go to the practice squad or something like that initially, if they're only keeping 4 running backs. So that's what I'm looking for with JP. How does he look in the zone blocking scheme? How does he look in catching passes out of the backfield? I feel like he can do both of those. It's going to be a long shot though. So that's kind of where my head is at.
De'Ami Brown, Breeze. He's had a pretty good camp, right? He had some good contested catches he's made. He can tell he's been working on his route tree. And as you are, Coach Breeze, coaching wide receivers, what are you expecting to see from him come Friday?
So it kind of depends on who he plays with. I don't know if the full first team offense plays. I don't know how much they're going to play. And he has that time with Sam. I think we'll see a couple shot plays with De'Ami. I think we'll see it regardless, but I think his chemistry is definitely more so with Sam than Jacoby or Jake Fromm. But I think we'll see De'Ami kind of they try to use him in the role that we think he'll be used in, is like more of a deep shot guy. Once the second team comes in, and he'll probably be the first receiver in that second unit. He'll see more usage, be more versatile, more underneath stuff, more check down stuff like that. But I think, just kind of carving out a role for him and showing him proof that he can be, he can have that fourth or maybe even fifth receiver spot. But I'm looking forward to it though.
Just to kind of pivot a little bit, what are you all expecting to see? We kind of talked about this earlier, but we can start with CeeLo. Are you expecting to see the offense out there for more than a quarter, series, half? What are you looking forward to see? Or what do you think Ron is going to do?
I'm still trying to get used to this 3 preseason game format, right? So, I mean, I know it's injuries and stuff like that. I would love to see the first team offense on there for like a quarter, and that probably translates into like maybe 3 series, or maybe, if you're lucky, 4 series. I would love to see them just kind of go out there, get a little, just kind of get a little rhythm going, get familiar with getting hit, and all that good stuff, and then get off the field. But more than likely, it's going to be like 1 series, and then you're going to see Brissett for a series, and then you'll see Fromm for like the rest of the game. I'll just say last point is, I think for De'Ami Brown, I would like to see him play the whole game. Period.
Yeah,
I don't think he's at a point where he can just kind of, I'm with the first team offense. Nah, bro, you should probably play, worst case half the game, and kind of get some of that some of that stink off you in terms of what we think you are. You know what I'm saying? So
because Pringle and Kemp and Cashmere Island, them dudes gonna play, and
they're gonna play.
Yeah, and I don't think he's a lock, so I hope he ain't going to this game like I'm only gonna play a few quarters. What about you, DT? Where you at with it?
I was thinking on the way when listening to the space and stuff, listening to everybody's like take on it. I feel like for someone like Sam, since he's such a young player and you're trying to get his feet wet as much as possible, even though he had 19 passes, like I feel like he should play at least a quarter of ball, just try to get the ball moving and stuff. Like I don't really try to go in and try to think about what the other team who's playing on their team, but I don't expect the Browns to really play their starters as much, especially on defense. They probably might want to keep a Miles Garrett or Zadarius Smith out, so that could be an opportunity for like the first team. Hey, let's see what Sam can do against at least half of the first team defense against the Browns. See, he can move downfield, but even then, like I'm just looking for like the integral stuff when it comes to the quarterback position. I'm looking at his footwork in the pocket that we've been talking about. His footwork when he's under center doing play action. How many calls he's getting at the line? How's he identify the blitzers and things of that nature? That's what you want to see in the true development plan for a young quarterback like Sam. So me, I want to see a quarter because he hasn't played as much. And if he's going to be QB1 that we've been saying to the national spaces and even our spaces, the ones that with the Brisket Brigade, I would like to see him play a quarter.
I mean, what about you, Bree? Like, do you think it's going to depend on how long they keep the quote unquote, like you say, 5 O linemen that are starting along with the starting weapons? You think that's going to determine Sam Howell, or you think they'll even leave him out there with like Lucas at left tackle?
So here's the thing, right? So Ron has been going on this whole, keep an eye on Jacoby. It's still a competition thing. None of us really truly believe. But to that point, if they, let's say the starters play 2 series, if Sam Howell plays 2 series of a preseason game after only having a game worth of action, like Sam Howell is just unquestioned starting quarterback. There's no competition in my mind. I would like to see in a perfect world, I want to see Sam play the first quarter. I want to see Jacoby play the second quarter, and then Fromm play the second half of the first preseason game. I think they may kind of stagger it. So, like, you may see guys like Terry, maybe Jahan, Leno, guys like that maybe get a series or 2, and then they kind of stagger the subs throughout the first quarter. And then by the time we get to the second quarter, then it's like the complete second unit. I think that's most likely what we'll see, because I think Sam still needs the work of a full quarter. But if he is your starting quarterback, I don't know if you want to, once you start kind of subbing pieces out of that lineup, if you want to put your starting quarterback behind that. So, I would like to see, 1, 2, and then 3 and 4. And like I said, just stagger the subs, but I just don't know how they're going to kind of protect Sam more or less, though.
Do y'all think there's a big drop off from offensive line starters to backup?
No, no, actually. And I don't think there's much drop off from Leno to Lucas. I don't think there's much drop off from Charles to Paul or Paul to Charles, however they work that out.
Yeah.
I don't think, who is Stromberg is the third. So who's the second?
Yeah,
right now?
second. Yep. No. It's going to be Larson.
So I would hope there's some drop off from Gates to Larson, but Larson is experienced, at least on this team. The most drop off might come from right guard Sam Cosmi, and whoever his backup is slotted as right now. But in general, I don't think I think you can probably swap 3 of the 5 and not lose a whole lot on the line. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but
right. I don't know either.
I'll say this. I don't think it's going to be a drop off really for center, because I think we've seen like at least 2 years of work from Tyler Larson since he's been here. We think he's pretty dependable. But when it comes to these guards that we already have question about, maybe outside of Cosby and the tackles outside of maybe Lucas, that's where I'm going to think is a big drop off, because we talked about it in the space of today. We got a lot of young cats on this team in this O-line group, and we got a Mason Brooks who's kind of outplaying our picks right now. So I think that's where the drop off can be in terms of wide receiver and stuff. I think that's slightly be even. I think they're going to be okay, but it's really the O-line that might have the biggest drop.
And that's definitely going to be something to watch, because I think it's a legitimate battle at left guard, but I just don't know if there's any more battles anywhere else on the offensive line. I don't think it's a good thing either.
I agree.
What I mean? So that's something that we're going to see. But so out of the O line, which player you are going to zero in on? Just one guy out of all the O linemen we had.
Left guard, whoever that is. I would love to see Sadiq Charles back out there. It sounds like he probably won't be. He is in the unofficial depth chart. He's still a starting left guard. I
And
feel
they,
like
they
if
they split reps today too.
and they split reps, I would like to. I still, he can't stay healthy, but I would like to see Sadiq Charles actually play a whole game healthy, because I feel like healthy, he's probably our most athletic lineman. Healthy, that's a big if. So
That's that's tough. I think by virtue of left guard being the only like legitimate competition, that's probably the position that you would probably pay the most attention to. But I mean, I'm curious. I mean, left tackle for me, that's you know what I mean, like that's protecting the quarterback's blind side, and I think most of us pretty much like Charles Leno as a person, but you have to admit that his play took a step back as a player last year. It is what it is. And he is the unquestioned starter at left tackle. Like Cornelius Lucas is not going to take his job. Braden Daniels is not going to take his job. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, like Charles Leno is, I could say with 98% confidence that Charles Leno will be the left tackle at least week one, barring injury. So, I mean, we got to see what we have with Charles Leno.
Man, I'm just gonna keep it a stack. I know you said one. I'm keeping it stack. Look, if you are a first team player or a second year player, I'm keeping my eye on you. And that's Chris Paul, Braden Daniels, Ricky Stromberg, and Mason Brooks. Like, I gotta see how they're gonna look when the fire is being thrown at your feet. Are you gonna use that fire swinging to the side, or are you just gonna keep patting? Like, I gotta see how you look, bro. And for all the talks we've been saying, we keep having this conversation. Like, um, what Braden Daniels, is he a tackle? He don't look like a tackle to me. He looks like a guard, a very athletic guard. He has like I see him more as a guard than a tackle. Ricky Stromberg, this kid, 4 years the SEC, and you're telling me that he needs development, but you draft him in the third round. Mason Brooks, you paid a lot of money for him, undrafted prior free agent. And he's out playing these two guys. I want to see how he looks when he's not hitting guys that not wearing the same shoulder pads and stuff like he is.
Yeah, I think like I have a terrible. I mean, it's the O line, so it's always kind of up in there anyway. But I just have a bad feeling that Braden Daniels and Ricky Stromberg are both going to essentially be redshirted this season and to spend a third, fourth round pick on offensive linemen that don't play when you need an upgrade on that unit is a little alarming to me, to be honest with you. But
yep.
Yeah, man. For me, before we get into the running back depth chart, is Tyler Larson. I didn't think he was going to be healthy coming into OTAs. He obviously was. He's been very good backing up Chase Roulier, but of course he goes down right after Roulier every time, coming off a back-to-back season-ending injury. So I want to see exactly where he is because I'm still trying to understand why the best center in SEC last year played what? How many years he played? 4 or 5 years. DT
4 years.
4 years. Voted best center in SEC is being looked at as a project or be redshirted. So I need to see what's going on there. So Larson is the guy that I'm going to be paying close attention to. All right, depth chart. Like, all right, so running backs. This is how I kind of see it. I think we're going to carry 4 running backs on the 53. I think 3 of them is going to dress on game day. I have B Rob, Gibby, Rodriguez, and Jonathan Williams. Those are my 4. Where you at, Breeze?
man, it's so I think they're going to keep 4 on the 53. Remember, I agree with you. Keeping 4, likely dressing 3 each game, depending on how like I said, injuries and all that kind of stuff shake out. But I think 3 of the 4 are already locked in. Like I think Robinson is locked in. We know that much. I think Rodriguez is locked in about because he was a draft pick this year. Granted, a later round pick. But I think he's still locked in. If he can prove to fit that role that they want him to play. And I think Gibson is still a lot to be on the roster. I would love for Jared Patterson to be that 4th back, just local kid, all that stuff. And Jared Patterson can contribute on special teams as he showed last year. Whereas I don't know about Jonathan Williams and There's another guy I had in mind, but I can't remember his name now. It's going to be for me. It's a toss up for that fourth back until we actually see them play in the preseason and see what they can do. But I know Williams played more than Jared Patterson last year. I think Jared Patterson is a little more versatile as far as playing teams and stuff like that. So I think Jared Patterson still kind of has a slight edge on Jonathan Williams. I think Chris Rodriguez has kind of took the role that Jonathan Williams had last year.
Yeah, I don't know, man, because it's the same thing going into last year, right? And they went with Jonathan Williams instead of Jared Patterson. So it's just really interesting. I think it seems like when he comes in, it's like he's always like producing when he does come in the game. You know what I'm saying? But what about you, CeeLo? But I guess he's one of your four. I mean, he's spotlight player, right? So what you ever chill for?
Yeah, so I think Bruce brought up Bruce. Wow. Sorry, Breeze. Breeze brought up
Bruce is
Breeze brought up a good point about and so did you, Deuce, about Jared Patterson. So I feel like so y'all think Jay Williams and C-Rod might play a similar role or the same role.
I do.
I think that you may see between Jay Williams and Jared Patterson go up and down on the practice squad. I can see that happening throughout the season. Just nature of the game, very game specific. You may an injury. I feel like you'll see those guys kind of rotate in and out over the season because no one's going to claim. I mean, respectfully, no one's going to claim on off the practice squad. So
I think you can only do it 3 times though, right?
Oh, you could. I didn't know.
As far as what, bringing them up or bringing them down?
From practice squad, bringing them up from practice squad. Like I think there's a number. Like you can't do it. Like
they keep tweaking the rules and stuff. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's like 3 times. Then you have to give them a full contract or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just think that there's some. Yeah, the thing I like about Jared Patterson is, and not, obviously he's like you said, local kid, but I feel like he contributes heavily on special teams, and that goes a long way with most football teams. And I'm not sure how much Jonathan Williams does or C-Rod. So I feel like that's to me that's the piece that kind of makes me feel like he kind of has a little bit of an end, and then of course you're going to see him in preseason and so on. So yeah, my only replacement is probably going to be C-Rod. Like I don't know about C-Rod. Like I just don't know. I think he has a lot of talent. He came in overweight, all that kind of stuff. I'm curious how they're going to deploy him in this offense, and if he'll produce. Like I said earlier, I think 3 to 4. I think we're going to have a lot of running backs get yards. Like I don't think it's going to just be one of those like 1 and 2. I think it's going to be like 4 running backs who will touch the football in this offense. So
I think a big part of Jonathan Williams making the team last year was not having Brian Robinson Jr.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because they're both physical downhill runners. So I think he kind of fit the role that they had for Brian Robinson last year, which is why I say I think him and Chris Rodriguez kind of fill a similar role this year.
Yeah.
And Rodriguez has a little bit of an edge by being a draft pick, but who knows though.
Yeah.
Didn't they bring somebody else in running back last year?
Yep. They brought a running back in this year, last week, right? I saw him in camp last Thursday.
No, I'm talking about last year, like when the season started. Didn't they sign another running back last year? I got to look at the depth chart.
I know Williams was in camp with him last year.
I know it was Williams and Williams, Gibby, and JD. Was JD hurt around that time?
JD was healthy.
Was he hurt? He was healthy, so it's 3. I thought it was another running back they brought in. But yeah, man, like Jared Patterson, I think if like special teams is going to be the way, then you have to look at all of these guys. Like you got Cashmere Allen, you got Pringle, you got. Go ahead.
It was Patterson. I think they had Patterson on the team, but once B-Rod got activated, they let him go. But put him back.
Patterson.
Okay.
But then when JD got hurt, they put him back on the active roster.
Right. Okay. So this year they have Derek Gore as a recent signee. He's probably just trying out and see what he's going to do. Camp
Yeah, I think
body.
he's more of a camp body. That
Yeah.
might be the name that was in my mind because he played in Kansas City and it's familiar with the
Exactly.
offense.
Yeah.
But I think he's more of a camp body. But
I agree.
running back, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah.
You
So
never
what
know,
you got? What
man.
you
No one saw Pacheco going off.
got?
Yeah.
So you just never know.
Yeah. We'll see.
So for me, I'm kind of in agreement with Deuce. I think it's going to be four, but three are going to play, and the main reason I would lean towards a little bit with Jay Will is because he's a little bit way more refining in the passing game than C Rob right now. I know has to do that in Kentucky, but for now, I don't know where he's at. You guys have been at training camp, so I don't know if he's been looking pretty good in pass protection drills or something like that. But I think Williams, he's pretty solid at it right now. So I think I would go with B Rob. No, yeah, B Rob, Gibson, J Will, and C Rob. But C Rob probably won't see no time unless an injury happens to Robinson. Because I think they drafted C Rod just in case of wear down come December when you're trying to run the football stuff. He can do literally the same things that B Rob can do.
Yeah, like and also like Jay Will, I think he can kind of do both. Like he can't do either one at a high level, but I think he can catch out the backfield. He can give you screen plays. He can do the zone run. I think he kind of gives you a mixture of B
Yeah.
Rob and Antonio Gibson. But I mean, do you, like let's just say C Rod goes into the preseason and he doesn't do too much, right? He doesn't run like whatever, he doesn't pass block. Do you think him as a fifth round pick, you think he makes he like goes through the waiver wire?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
I
probably so.
think probably, especially with these expanded practice squad um, numbers now, that most teams just bring back their own guys. Um, Maybe a veteran that sneaks through. So I think there's an avenue for him to pass through waivers. But it also depends on what happens with other teams' running backs, in the preseason. Like you remember, what was that 2 years ago? Baltimore lost like three running backs and
Mm-hmm.
three, four running backs. Like what I mean, like if something
Mm-hmm.
like that, obviously not wishing to injure anybody, but if something like that happens, you have an SEC capable running back. Like I think some teams will be willing to take a look at him. Like to put it in, like he was a good SEC running back at Kentucky, which is kind of in the middle of the SEC. So he's playing against a lot of the upper echelon teams in the SEC and still producing. So and that hurts me a little bit because that's my school. But yeah, I think he'll pass the waivers, but it just kind of depends on what happens with other teams, with other better one teams in preseason.
My interest is, and CeeLo has constantly asked this question in the group chats, like, does each type of running backs fit what EB want to do? And we heard from them, they said, well, this is an EB pick, but then you listen to the Commanders law, they said they've been scouting him since last year. Now, I mean, both things can be true, but you're kind of still trying to see how, like a Robinson, Gibson, and like C Rod, how they fit in this offense in terms of their running style compared to what we have seen in Kansas City. They had some backs that had some similar molds, like a Darren Williams and Spencer Ware, but these guys we have over here, they're a little bit bigger and a little bit thicker. They have more of a power scheme over here. So it's interesting to see how they fit.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. Because like we all know, if a team picks you up off the waiver wire or claims you off waivers, they have to automatically add you to the 53.
Active.
So I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, especially if he doesn't produce as a fifth round pick. I think he clears for sure. Um, After this, we're gonna get into the pivot interview with uh Terry McLaurin. If you
Yeah,
haven't watched the
ready.
whole thing, like you should. That was one of the best sports interviews I've ever watched and listened to right after this.
Hi, I'm Christian Miles. native Washingtonian and real estate agent servicing the Washington metropolitan area. I started my career as an investor and later transitioned to the residential side. I really wanted to leave the investor side because I wanted to connect with people. Building relationships is important to me. I understand the buying and selling process can be challenging. I get it. I've been there. I'm a mom, wife, friend, and neighbor. I absolutely love helping families and connecting with people. Going through the home buying and selling process is stressful enough. When working with me, I make it fun. As a realtor, I think it's important to be able to connect with you. Every detail is important, no matter how small. Let me take care of the heavy lifting while you focus on the joys of finding a new home. Something I live by, people may not remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. With me, it's an experience.
Thank you for listening to Owning the Huddle podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Red Zone in the Lab and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You can download our podcast wherever you get your podcasts and visit us at redzoneinthelab.com.